How do you think Alexander Usyk would have done in your era, the era of Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson? How do you think he would have done against you and your contemporaries?
I would have to compare him to Evander Holyfield, and I think he would have done very well.
Lennox Lewis believes he'd beat Alexander Usyk with a strong uppercut, but it's hard to see one punch being enough to overcome the Ukrainian's skill and movement.
Very well. I don't think he would have lasted against me because, you know, I throw a mean uppercut in there, and I noticed he gets caught with uppercuts. So he wouldn't have been able to stand up to my uppercuts.
Lennox Lewis recently offered his perspective on how he would approach a potential fight with Alexander Usyk. He confidently stated that his main strategy would be to focus on his uppercut. Lewis explained that Usyk, while being a highly skilled and elusive fighter, is particularly vulnerable to uppercuts. He went on to highlight that since he himself possesses a strong uppercut, it would be the primary weapon in his arsenal to break Usyk's defenses. According to Lewis, this would be a key part of his strategy to defeat the Ukrainian champion.
Oh, well, if you fought Usyk, what would you do? I would say, well, you know, I would throw a good uppercut because he's susceptible to uppercuts, and I throw a mean uppercut. And that's how I would definitely fight the fight.
When further asked about Usyk's body defense, Lewis was quick to point out that anyone who is seen as vulnerable in that area is usually aware of it and works diligently to protect it. He pointed out that fighters like Usyk are always looking for ways to improve their defense and make it harder for opponents to exploit perceived weaknesses. As a result, if someone were to target Usyk's body, Lewis argued that Usyk would likely be ready to counterattack. He described how fighters in Usyk's position often use this perceived vulnerability as a tool to mislead their opponents into thinking they have an advantage in a certain area, only to make them pay for such an assumption.
Do you think he's vulnerable to the body?
Well, anybody that's vulnerable to the body, and everybody's saying it, usually goes back and works on the body and says, I make them think I'm vulnerable to the body. That's what I want them to think. Now my body's tough, and if they go to the body, I'm gonna hit them.
Looking at Usyk's opponent Tyson Fury, Lewis shared his thoughts on how Fury could potentially defeat Usyk in a rematch. Lewis believes that Fury's enormous size gives him a clear advantage. He suggested that Fury should focus on using his jab more effectively in the rematch, utilizing his reach to control the pace of the fight. Lewis even proposed that Fury might consider adding some extra weight for this bout. According to Lewis, more weight would allow Fury to use his size to his advantage, bullying Usyk and making it harder for the smaller man to move around and find openings.
Well, the fact that it is his first loss, and he's an up and down fighter, he knows how to come back and he knows what he needs to do. And basically, he just has to get started from the beginning. He has to win 8 out of the 12 rounds to win the fight, and I think he knows what he needs to do. He needs that challenge. He's up for challenges, you know. Tyson Fury, he's got the size, 6'9". He moves well. He needs to get that jab going. I like Tyson with a little bit more weight. Maybe he'll come in with more weight this time. He's always a good fighter, even with weight on.
Lewis emphasized that Fury's key to victory would lie in applying constant pressure. He advised that Fury use his physicality to wear down Usyk, making the fight uncomfortable for the Ukrainian. By staying unpredictable and throwing more punches, Fury could unbalance Usyk and make it harder for him to execute his own game plan. Lewis further highlighted that this would be especially important in a rematch, where Fury's size and pressure could make all the difference.
Rough him up a bit, you know, use that big 6'9" body and, you know, put on Usyk and make it harder for him. And, you know, throw more punches, get that jab going, don't be there for the hit, and, you know, apply yourself a bit more. And with weight, he can push the little guy back. He can put his weight on the little guy as well. There's a lot of different things that Tyson Fury can do to unhinge Alexander Usyk and make it a harder fight for him to win.
Shifting focus to other boxing figures, Liam Smith offered a more cautious prediction about the rematch between Fury and Usyk. While Smith picked Fury as the potential winner, he expressed uncertainty regarding the round in which the fight might end. He stated that his opinion could change depending on how both fighters looked in the week leading up to the rematch. Smith emphasized that he wasn't just agreeing with the general consensus, but was genuinely interested in seeing how the previous fight's outcome would affect both boxers.
No, I picked Fury first time round. I really don't know, honestly. My opinion might change fight week when I see a little bit more of them. But at this minute in time, no, I can't even. I don't honestly. I've never been like that either. I'm not being an ass kisser sitting on the fence either. I really don't know what pick. I don't be interested to see how much the last fight stuck out to both of them. Yeah, it's a good one.
Dean White is confident in Tyson Fury's chances to secure victory in the rematch. He suggested that Fury should revert to his previous style of fighting, where he took control by boxing on the front foot and pushing Usyk back. White believed that this would be the key to unseating Usyk, who thrives when allowed to dictate the pace of the fight. According to White, a more aggressive approach from Fury would tilt the balance in his favor and make it harder for Usyk to maintain his typical rhythm.
I was going to say, do you think Fury could do enough to turn the tide? Because he did look good in that. Yeah.
I think he can do enough, man. I think he needs to go back to what he was doing, try and box on the front foot and push him back. I think that's his route to win.
And when it comes to Fury, is there overall concerns? Because there was a lot said about the corner and too many voices. And I spoke to Johnny Nelson yesterday, and he said, you know, he really needs to sort of clean his team out, clean the house out. Is there issues with that?
Way too many people in that corner, yeah. Way too many.
Sean Porter echoed a similar sentiment. Porter believed that Tyson Fury's combination of size, skill, and experience would give him the upper hand in the rematch. He noted that Fury's physical attributes, such as his reach and speed, would make it difficult for Usyk to impose his will. Porter also pointed out that if Fury could keep his focus and avoid the mistakes he made in the first fight, he could reverse the result and claim the unified heavyweight championship.
I actually do expect him to win this rematch. I think he's bigger than Usyk, and that size advantage that he has, he, unlike most fighters, knows how to use that size, that reach, that speed. I think the whole fight will play out the way that the first half played itself out. I think the whole fight's going to go that way. A very focused and determined Fury is a quiet and relentless Fury.
Meanwhile, Gareth A. Davies offered an analysis of Tyson Fury's mindset after his first encounter with Alexander Usyk. According to Davies, Fury admitted that complacency played a part in the round 9 incident where he was hurt by Usyk. He revealed that Fury had become too comfortable in the latter stages of the fight, which allowed Usyk to land a significant punch that shook him. Davies suggested this moment was a turning point in the fight and reflected Fury's tendency to underestimate his opponents at times.
But those were the rounds 5, 6, 7 where Fury dominated, and that's what he was doing in those rounds, was coming forwards, hitting Usyk at range and hurting him. And if you watch the fight back, which I have a couple of times, it was a brutal war in many ways. And you know, the optics in rounds 8 and 9 were against Fury, but it's going to be an almighty tussle again. I don't think Fury can get as comfortable as he did in the ring last time. I think he got too complacent. Yeah. I spoke to him about that when I saw him last time.
He also noted that despite acknowledging Usyk's superiority in the first fight, Fury had downplayed the impact of Usyk's victory, offering excuses for his performance rather than giving credit where it was due.
The comeback fight is always massive. In that fight, he obviously cut his eye in Sparring, and the fight was delayed. It was amazing to see the two men together just over a month ago in London, and I think there's absolute respect for each other after what was a war last time. And this fight is really for who is the number one of this generation. Yeah. And if Fury loses it, Usyk becomes the man.
Looking ahead to the rematch, Davies speculated that Fury would be more aggressive this time around. He predicted that Fury might start the fight on the front foot, applying pressure early rather than waiting for Usyk to take control. According to Davies, the final rounds of the fight would be crucial, as Fury would likely push forward more than he did in the first encounter. He also mentioned that Fury's cut eye in the first fight could have affected his performance, but this time, with improved conditioning, the rematch could play out differently, with both fighters coming in better prepared.
He does exactly what he did for the first 7 rounds in the last fight, and then he keeps it going. And if he's got the legs in him to do it, which is one of the big question marks, I think he'll just pip it. I think it's going to be a very, very close fight again. They're both great generals in the ring, but he does have to get ahead in the fight and stay there. I think he's got to be more aggressive this time. He sat back last time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I think Usyk was allowed to come forward
In contrast, Fabio Wardley predicted that Usyk would again come out on top. Wardley, who had sparred with both Fury and Usyk, felt that the dynamics of the fight would remain largely the same as in their first meeting. He acknowledged that Fury's preparation for the first fight had been affected by a deep cut, which could have hindered his performance.
What do you think happens in this rematch? How do you sort of assess it?
I think it's a lot of the same, to be honest. I do think it's a lot of the same. I think Usyk will go into the fight like any mindset, like he has done with all of his fights, that just narrow focus, just straight on target, on point, not missing a beat, not missing a step.
Despite that, Wardley believed Usyk's disciplined approach and mental focus would continue to give him the edge. He was confident that Usyk's consistency and precision would prevail in the rematch, regardless of any adjustments Fury made.
Maybe Fury will say that, like, kind of, maybe his camp wasn't ideal, or he wasn't in the best place or the best shape, or whichever else. Who knows? He hasn't. I'm not saying that because he hasn't come out with any excuses like that since. But maybe in himself he'll think, oh, that camp wasn't great, or I did some things wrong, or because us as fighters, again, we know when you don't do things right in camp. You know when you miss a few sessions, or you've taken it easy on some sessions and things like that. So maybe the loss was what he needed to go right. Full 100% back in, and maybe he comes out differently.
Jamie Moore had some tactical advice for Tyson Fury, suggesting that he should use his size and strength to make the fight a physically demanding contest. Moore emphasized the importance of targeting Usyk's body early on, making it difficult for the Ukrainian to operate at his usual pace. By tiring Usyk out in the early rounds, Fury could prevent him from showcasing his superior boxing skills in the later stages. Moore's approach was one of disrupting Usyk's rhythm and adaptability to keep the fight in Fury's favor.
Hopefully, Tyson Fury can drag him into a dogfight like I thought he should have approached the first fight, because when you've got so much size and weight advantage, you've got to utilise it. And I don't ever think someone who's so ring savvy and experienced and learns from a fight as it progresses. Usyk is so well versed in that. He adapts to you so well. You can't allow him to go into the second half of the fight where he's just being outboxed, but he's not being outmanned.
Teddy Atlas also weighed in with advice for Tyson Fury. He suggested that Fury refine his uppercut, which could be an effective weapon against Usyk's elusive style. Atlas also highlighted the importance of using Fury's jab more effectively to set up other punches. Given Usyk's quickness and defensive prowess, using the jab to set traps would be crucial in breaking through his guard.
Look, there's things that he maybe could have used the uppercut more, because it was very effective in that 6th round. Maybe he could have used it throughout the fight a little more, maybe. You know, maybe there's things that he could have just added off of controlling him with the jab. I have a saying, you set the table with the jab and you eat with the right hand, right? Maybe he could have, went to the refrigerator a little bit and brought out a few, or to wherever the stock box is, wherever he keeps the right hand, and brought them out with the jab a little more. Maybe he could have done that, because he was definitely doing well with the jab. He was setting the table. Maybe he could have ate a little more.
Evander Holyfield took a critical stance on Tyson Fury's reliance on clinching in the ring.
What would you say Fury should improve on if he was to do a rematch with Usyk?
Well, Fury, I think that, he got to use the jab more if he gonna do anything. He gonna have to.
Holyfield argued that Fury's tendency to clinch actually plays into Usyk's hands, as it allows the Ukrainian to recover and reset his position. Holyfield warned Fury risks suffering another defeat unless Fury changes his approach.
I think sometimes grabbing the person make it worse for him. I think he has to be able to step back, come forward, step back. Boxing is one of the things that grabbing people tend to get them a little bit more rest and get them a chance to hit you.
Mental preparation was also highlighted as a key factor in the rematch. Hamza Shiraz emphasized that Fury's mindset would play a crucial role in his success. Fury himself had admitted that he lost focus during the first fight, and Shiraz pointed out that this lapse in concentration could not happen again. With the stakes so high, Fury's mental state would need to be on point if he hoped to avoid repeating past mistakes and secure a victory.
Tyson Fury last week said some comments about Usyk, saying it was like fighting a local amateur boxer. He's a legend, he is, isn't
he? Any thoughts on Fury's recent comments?
Not really. Listen, he knows what he's doing. He's been at the level of the sport which I haven't been at, so I don't know what it's like to be at that level, and inshallah one day I will. But I suppose every little move and every little interview you have is all a mental battle. All the little 1% or 0.1%, they all make a difference. So maybe it's part of the bigger strategy. But in the rematch, I think Fury should come out with a win.
Vidal Riley echoed this sentiment, pointing to Fury's history of bouncing back from setbacks. Riley highlighted Fury's track record of adapting and evolving after defeats, especially in rematches. This resilience made him a formidable opponent in any second encounter, and Riley believed that Fury could use this experience to his advantage in the rematch against Usyk.
Fury, man. Fury. Like, I'm going with Fury. He knows how to win rematches. The track record speaks for itself. I'm going with Fury.
Bill Haney, the father and trainer of lightweight champion Devin Haney, shared his thoughts on the first fight between Fury and Usyk. While initially surprised by Usyk's performance, Haney had since become a firm believer in the Ukrainian's abilities. He predicted that Usyk would outclass Fury again, emphasizing Usyk's superior skills and tactical mastery. While Fury's fighting spirit was undeniable, Haney believed that Usyk's technical precision would ultimately be too much for Fury to handle.
Man, I didn't think Usyk was going to do Fury like he did him. You know, so Usyk has made me a believer.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's made me a believer. I think that he'll upstage Fury again.
Oh, so you think it's going to be 2-0?
It'll be 2-0.
Right. I mean, Fury is a interesting guy, man. Doesn't look like a world champion boxer, but you throw him in the ring and,
He's a fighter. He's a fighter.
He's a real fighter.
No, he's a fighter. He comes from a fighter family.
Yeah.
You know, his dad, a mastermind within himself. So I expect a fight now. I expect Tyson to come. He's gonna come ready, but I think Usyk will upstage him.
Okay, so you got your money on Usyk.
Yes.
Johnny Fischer also weighed in on the rematch. Fischer acknowledged that Fury's adaptability and experience in rematches gave him a solid chance to regain his position as champion. However, he also praised Usyk's resilience and technical ability, noting that both fighters presented significant challenges. Fischer viewed the fight as a historic battle and predicted an exciting contest, with the winner deserving to be recognized as the best heavyweight in the world.
Great fight. We know the first fight was brilliant. I'm backing Tyson Fury. I think his track record of rematches, I think I've seen a few pictures of him coming in a bit chunkier, a bit heavier, playing to his natural strengths, and he had Usyk going. But we know how good Usyk is. If you beat Usyk, I think he's conquered the world, hasn't he? Because he's beat everyone he needs to beat. I don't know what's happened with the light there. And just excited to see the fight. May the best man win. The two best on the planet.
Carl Froch is another who believes that Usyk would retain his title. Froch emphasized Usyk's relentless pace and dedication, which he believed would wear down Fury over time. While he acknowledged that Fury had the size and power to pose a threat, Froch pointed out that Usyk's work rate and ability to execute his tactics would give him the edge. He predicted that Usyk would win by decision, although he also mentioned that Fury's best chance of victory might come if he could push for a late stoppage, given Usyk's fitness and ability to control the pace. However, this would be a difficult task.
It was a bad whooping, won it in round 9. I mean, if that fight would have got stopped in round 9, I think it was held up by the ropes, and then Usyk was lining his chin up, and the ref jumped in to stop it because the ropes kept him up. If that was me, I'd have kept punching. Until the ref grabs me out of the way, I'm not going to stop punching. And Usyk, such a magnanimous man, and he's such an honest, fair man. He sort of stopped. He looked at the ref and stopped. When he sticks on Usyk 4, 5, and 6 in their first fight, well, their only fight, they've got the rematch before Christmas. He had Usyk in kind of trouble that I've never seen him in before. He had him hurt, hit him with an uppercut, he had him wobbled, but he couldn't maintain it, couldn't sustain it. So that's what he's got to do to beat Usyk. Stick it on him, put the pressure on him. The reason I mentioned Undisputed is because he's on the cover of that, Tyson Fury is.
Oh, nice.
And he actually said, if I get beat by Usyk in the rematch, I'm relinquishing the cover shot. Usyk can then be on the cover.
Ty Mitchell, a former sparring partner of Fury, expressed his confidence in Fury's ability to win the rematch, but also cautioned that it would depend on which version of Fury showed up. Mitchell, who would be joining Fury's camp for sparring, emphasized the importance of Fury being at his best. He praised Fury's willingness to listen to feedback and make adjustments, which had strengthened his bond with his trainers.
Next week, I'm flying out Malta next week, get some sparring in.
And then I'm coming back. I need to carry on with my own camp and get back in, carry on with my camp. So I can't be with him for too long, unfortunately. But listen, with or without me, it's not gonna make a huge impact, is it? I can help him the best I can, but Sparring can only do so much. He's his own man, do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm a privilege that he's asked me to come out and help him again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've missed him and I ain't seen him for a little while, so it'll be good to spend some time with him.
Finally, veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora raised doubts about the sparring partners Fury was using to prepare for the fight. Chisora expressed concern that Fury might not be pushing himself hard enough in training, particularly in light of Usyk's speed and technical abilities.
Do I believe Tyson can beat you, Alexander? I look at everybody he's got in his sparring camp. I personally don't believe that you can actually. The sparring partners he's got right now, they're pushing him to be menace. You know, they are in awe of Tyson. You know, they will pull their punches when they're sparring. You know, they will. This is what I'm seeing from the things I see on Instagram. So, what I see, what Alexander's doing is totally different to because I think Alexander's way is more like start fast and finish fast.
As the rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk draws closer, the boxing world remains divided on who will emerge victorious. While some believe Fury's physical advantages and ability to adapt will secure him the win, others are confident in Usyk's technical mastery and relentless pace. One thing is certain, this will be a historic battle and the outcome will have major implications for the future of the heavyweight division. So what are your thoughts about this? Do you think that Tyson Fury can avenge his loss against Usyk? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.